Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What is going on with Disney and Lucasfilm and with the Mandalorian Season 3 trailer? Are they trying to hide something from us, or did they simply mess up? Let's talk about this. Hey there guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're doing well, and in this video we're going to be talking about the Mandalorian Season 3 trailer. As I had mentioned, there were actually two versions of the trailer that had been released supposedly. One for social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, etc., and then there was another Mandalorian Season 3 trailer that has one small but yet such a big difference that was released on Disney Plus exclusively there. So whether or not this is an honest mistake, or if Lucasfilm and Disney are trying to actually hide something from us Star Wars fans, this has to be very interesting. Before we dive any deeper on into this, please leave a like on this video, as it really does help out the channel, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join us here on the channel today. We cover and talk about all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel, so if you guys are into any of that kind of Star Wars content, hit the subscribe button and that notification bell down below to be notified for when new videos are coming out. Now, aside from that, in this video we're going to be taking a read from the Direct's article. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out down there as well. The trailer for The Mandalorian Season 3 is currently on Disney Plus, as well as YouTube and other social media platforms, as I had mentioned, and it features a new shot that was absent from the version of the trailer that was recently premiered on the social media platforms. The return of The Mandalorian is getting closer and closer. The season finale of Season 2 hit on Disney Plus on December 18th of 2020 of The Mandalorian, meaning that the hit show's hiatus has lasted more than 2 years, a little bit too long for me. However, despite that, we still got to see Mando return in the Book of Boba Fett, so it wasn't all that much of a long gap. However, fans won't have to wait much longer for the return of The Mandalorian and Grogu's solo story. To hold everyone over, a new trailer was recently released, the official trailer. The new footage included many new Mandalorians that will be present in the upcoming installment, additional shots of Mandalore and Coruscant, and we even saw B-1 battle droids make the return to live action in over 15 plus years since they last appeared in Revenge of the Sith and the prequels in 2005. However, there was apparently a quick but notable shot that wasn't included in the trailer that originally premiered on the social media platforms. At this time, it was only present in the trailer that was on Disney Plus, and it featured one of the Emperor's greatest weapons. Apparently so, we'll actually be able to see Star Destroyers in the upcoming third season of The Mandalorian. Star Destroyers that, of course, the Empire had been using in the original trilogy. Sure, we had light cruisers, which are a little bit of a more scaled down version of Star Destroyers. However, full-on Star Destroyers making a return here, like for the Empire and for The Mandalorian Season 3, has to mean something big. And remember that, as I had mentioned, that this shot is only seen in the Disney Plus version of The Mandalorian Season 3 official trailer. It's nowhere to be seen on their social media platforms or on the YouTube either. This new shot features a quick glimpse of an Imperial Star Destroyer. This appears to be on Coruscant as well, in what looks like to be a junkyard, as the command bridges of multiple other Star Destroyers can be seen in the distance behind. Of course, as well as the city of Coruscant overall. The ship doesn't look to be extremely damaged, and there are some pieces of the hull that are stripped, and the two deflector shield projectors, which are on the big bulbs on the top of the ship where the bridge is, seems to be in rough condition, but those could easily be repairable for someone looking to use Star Destroyers potentially in the third season of The Mandalorian, which is a very big question. Who's going to be using these Star Destroyers, which we'll talk about in just a moment. At this point in the timeline, the Empire has been defeated, as we saw in Return of the Jedi and with the Battle of Jakku as well. However, as fans saw in the first two seasons of The Mandalorian, there still are cells of the Imperials that are fighting to bring the Empire and its reign of terror back into the galaxy. And even then, at the very least, there appear to be 6 Star Destroyers that are present in this new shot, let alone the one that's right in front of us, and that is only in what is in this view. So for all that we could know is that there could be many more of Star Destroyers in the surrounding area. If the Empire could get them all in operation, it could make its presence felt once more, and its chances of making somewhat of a return would be drastically going up here. And as you guys can see here on the screen, of course, these little yellow circles here are showing all the other Star Star Destroyers that we can kind of make out here, or at least bits and pieces of Star Destroyers that the Empire used to use that could have the potential to becoming like operational once again. But this mostly does look like a junkyard. Considering that the ships are in a repairable shape, however, and that Dr. Pershing is currently on Coruscant, as we did see in the trailer recently, the Empire is likely as a strong presence on this planet overall. If these ships were not going to be used anymore, however, they would likely be sent off to a planet like Braca, which was one giant junkyard that we saw in Jedi Survivor, which is where ships like Star Destroyers were sent and to be never used again, stripped and torn of their parts, and like a planet dedicated to being a junkyard, essentially, kind of like we saw with Jakku as well. The Empire is likely saving these ships, however, so that they can be repaired and used again at some point in the near future. As previously noted, the damage done to the ship in the front is not as bad in the slightest, and some of the command bridges from the other ships that we can see in the distance and in the background of this also appear to be in decent shape. The shot of the Star Destroyer occurs at the 1 minute and 2 seconds mark on Disney Plus on that overall trailer over there. You're not going to see this shot, as I had mentioned, on YouTube or any other social media platforms. And also, following this shot directly after is where we see Dr. Pershing on Coruscant. So the coincidence is really there. So now let's talk about who exactly might be using these Star Destroyers. I have a little bit of a theory here. Firstly, the Empire. Why would the Empire even need Star Destroyers? Star Destroyers were utilized in a major way when the Empire was at its full power and its full reign, as we had seen throughout Star Wars Rebels, the animated show, and throughout all of that kind of original trilogy era content. They not only served as a transportation vessels for stormtroopers, weaponry, and other machinery, but they were also extremely efficient and effective weapons as well overall, as they were equipped with cannons and blasters. Not to mention that they also had hangars, of course, for where TIE fighters would be stored, and other smaller battle-like ships would be stored. Emperor Palpatine himself proved multiple times throughout the Skywalker saga that he wasn't going to go down without a fight, and Giancarlo Esposito's Moff Gideon has proved in The Mandalorian that he will do whatever it takes to bring the Empire back to its full force. Having Star Destroyers at its disposal is a great way for the Empire to start really overall and bring it kind of back into the realm of things and become a threat once again. The war is still fairly fresh of it being over, only ending around 5 years prior to when The Mandalorian is really taking place since the events of Return of the Jedi. Instead of being a junkyard, it is likely that this area of Coruscant is actually a sort of a repair shop. The planet itself, after all, did contain the majority of Imperial forces and the headquarters of the ISB, as we recently saw in the Andor show. So it really is quite highly likely that it is a place with a large Imperial presence, even though the planet is under control of the New Republic and after the war overall. And as I had mentioned before, putting 2 and 2 together, seeing that we would have this shot of a Star Destroyer on Coruscant, and then immediately after that have Dr. Pershing on Coruscant, who's a kind of a very important person, a part of the Empire during this time period. Putting those two things kind of together, it makes sense that the Empire would want to have these Star Destroyers in their possession. However, my other theory is the fact that maybe Bo-Katan and the rest of the Mandalorians would want these Star Destroyers in an effort to bring their own power to the galaxy. This was something that was touched on in The Mandalorian Season 2 and with its finale, is that Bo-Katan agreed to go with Mando and Boba and the rest of the gang if she could have the Star Destroyer, or the light cruiser rather, that Moff Gideon had, so she could use it for her own wants and needs. As she was kind of ramping up for a Mandalorian kind of battle here to take possession back over Mandalore, and going back to Mandalore thinking that it was still in Imperial control. However, since the Season 3 trailer, it doesn't really appear that there's going to be all that much Imperial presence left on Mandalore. Of course, I would love to hear you guys all think about this in the comment section down below. What do you think about this overall? Having Star Destroyers here in the Mandalorian Season 3 trailer, what can we expect to see going forward for the 3rd season? And what kind of presence and overall play do you guys think that these Star Destroyers are going to play in the role of in the Mandalorian Season 3 here? Is the Empire going to be using them, or are other people going to be using them? And if so, is there going to be a huge all-out space battle? I would love to hear you guys all think about this in the comments down below. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Of course, may the Force be with you as always. Have a great one, guys. Peace out.